Meditation. What do you think about when you think about meditation?
I have a hard time with that.
Why do you have a hard time?
Just to calm my mind.
Okay.
I have a hard time with that. I mean, I try it all the time, but
Okay.
I don't get where I want to go.
Do you garden?
I do to some extent. I used to do a lot more, but I've had health issues, so I can't get down anymore. But I use a stool and I go out there and garden. And when I do things, this is true, when I do something like gardening, or if I'm left-handed, so I just learned how to knit and crochet, which is hard for left-handers, or it was for me. And when you do things like that, it does take your mind off of everything else. But what I want to do is I want to be able to sit down and just meditate. I want to get there, and I can't.
All right, that's very common. So one of the biggest things is like, oh, and even when I started, like, oh, am I doing this right? Or too many thoughts are going in my head. Meditation is not about not thinking. For me, it's about being more aware of your thoughts and not being attached to those thoughts. Because you know, when you start thinking something, it leads to something else, and before you know it, you've made up a whole big story in your head. And the reason I asked you about gardening, because you know, some people garden and it's very therapeutic. Or if you're a runner, I've never been a runner, but some runners, they say they get into a zone. So that's what it's about. It's just getting away from those thoughts that are all over the place and just being more aware of them. So not to completely have no thoughts. That's a misconception. And even experienced meditators, I can tell you, they'll tell you that there's not a day where they don't have any thoughts. So it's not about getting rid of those thoughts. It's about calming your brain waves down. And for me, part of that is being aware of the thoughts and letting them go. So when I started meditating, one of the techniques, it was a Buddhist technique, they said, well, imagine your thoughts as clouds. So imagine your brain is a sky, a blue sky, and your thoughts as clouds. And as your thoughts come in, just imagine them floating away. So that's so then you don't get attached to those thoughts, because that's kind of what makes us crazy.